There you go.
You might want to plug that in.
This?
Yeah. All right. Is the audio on? They can hear us?
The audio's on, yeah.
I'm ready.
Can they see us yet?
No.
But they can hear us.
The disclaimer.
Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Axe Ministry, Axe Media Group, and or their affiliate and supported ministries and or nonprofits. Good morning. Coming to you live from Axe Media Group headquarters here in the beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay with your hosts, Matt and Jay and Steve. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Miracle.
I don't see the live stream from down there. I don't see it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say stuff so that they don't, so we're not just sitting here going, that's an interesting show. A bunch of people on their phone.
Yeah.
I see how difficult this is to do, Matt. To post it while you're trying to get things started.
Yes. It is. You want to turn you can go ahead and turn the music off. I usually let it go until after. And I see for the first time. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. With your hosts, Matt.
And Jay.
And Steve.
We're glad to have everybody on board with us today. Don't boast for plans of tomorrow. Don't plan.
I'm going to have to
plan too far ahead. All right. That's what I'm posting. Posting! I shared this post. All right. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Drive. My name is Matt, and we've already said that.
My name's Jay.
Yeah, I'm Steve.
And we're glad to have everybody on board with us today. So we're having a blast this morning. We're all like on our phones, and
I'm not getting you guys live on my thing, so I can't.
Axe Media Group's hesitating.
it's hesitation at its best.
So you may notice that some of our titling and everything is a little bit different today, and that's because
On YouTube,
and that's because, and I share mine from YouTube. So
it's hesitation.
And that's because we are trying to make our videos more searchable.
Exactly.
By topic.
Here we are.
All right.
Did you get it yet?
I'm trying to
There you
like
go.
and share,
All right.
which
Well,
we
good
want
morning.
you folks to do as well.
Steve McAllister's with us.
Good morning,
Who's
Steve
that?
McAllister. Some
Good
weird, crazy guy.
Good morning,
I'm gonna
Stevie
like and love this
McAllister, whoever you are.
Yeah, like and share these videos.
I'm liking and loving it, and I'm even hugging it with a heart.
with
I'm
a
hugging my love
Oh, you
You're
know
hugging
what?
it with a hot. You okay?
with my emoji.
With the emoji.
Emoji.
By the way, the
My
other
love
day,
the love emoji.
remember you were asking, man, the hearts and likes, I'm getting a bunch of them pumped. It was me.
Well, you remember that Jordan is pretty bad about that too. Like,
You guys were something else.
Oh,
You
man.
and Jordan.
that's
Jay.
hilarious. You know, I talk to Jordan on a regular basis too. I talk to both of my children. I love talking to both of my children, and
That's
they're
good.
so different. The two of them, it's like apples and oranges.
You're right.
Like one is like super overachieving, and the other one is lazy and procrastinating. And
I wonder which one that is.
and it's a wonderful thing, you know.
Yeah. Opposites attract.
Yeah. One is like uber sensitive, and the other's like meh. So
Matthew 6:34, is that the one we're looking at? Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow,
That's
for
it.
tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. It is the 34th and final verse of the 6th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew.
Wow.
do not boast for plans of tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. Worry about today.
Well, now the reason that came up for me, and the reason I put it in the title was because right now a lot has happened in my life. I mean, I lost my uncle, a close dear friend of mine lost his mother and his sister, all really quickly. There's been a lot of people who have lost people recently. We've got one of the associations from Branson is the Country Music Association. They had a lot of people that they lost recently. So we've seen this going on around us all the time. And those changes have brought Matt and myself and our friend Barney together in the same home, and it feels so much like a home. But even despite the suffering, we have each other's love and care for each other, you know. And
That's great.
That helps. I don't know about with the healing because that's so personal.
Yeah.
But it helps with the between.
It really does.
Right?
Yep.
But that's about today, right now, and being sensitive and aware of what happens. Now, we also are building a studio in the garage. We've got work going on at the church where there's studios being built. Things are being really changed. They're wanting to convert the church to an online thing because that's where the new church is going to be.
Yeah.
That's what Axe is doing.
We've been ahead of we're ahead of the game, though.
We got a new office at Axe. Twice as much square footage.
Now you've got an office/studio that is really nice. He was okay. I got to say this, Jay. Whenever we were at the new space the other day, Jay was going to every door saying, "Oh man, check out my new office. Check out my new office." And like the closet and stuff like that. Oh, this is my new office. And he tried to get in the bathroom, and I was in there, and I came out and I said, well, clearly this is not your office because it clearly states gentleman. But it was just, it was funny. You would have had to have been there. It was great.
It makes me sad that he would say such an awful, mean, cruel thing to me.
That's just, right to the heart.
But it made me think about it. You know, with these plans and all this stuff, it takes a lot of planning and a lot of thought. And sometimes I find myself wandering around in this daze of plans for the future like I'm living there now. And I may not even make it there. I mean, Uncle Bruce died in 5 days. And so many people pass so quickly that if you're spending the right now, living in all of what you expect for the future, you're going to miss the right now.
Yeah.
And the right now could be very important.
And sometimes if you're so wrapped up in those plans, you miss the person standing right in front of you, and that they may be crying out to you saying, hello, I'm standing here, hello, hello, and you don't even hear it. And so I thought about that, and I think about the people that I see every day at work and how important they are, and their lives really are important, and how we can have an effect on people, a cumulative effect. But all of those depend on the right now. When they're in front of you, to make that difference right now and use that 30-second slot of time you have in their life to make a difference and to testify of the Lord and to, but you can't do that if you're living in your plans for tomorrow. And if you're consumed with all those thoughts as though that's what is.
Yeah. That's like if you're thinking about, if you're focusing all your energy on what you're going to do on Friday, but you've got stuff to do and stuff to learn on Monday.
Yeah.
You're going to miss it. You're never going to make it to that Friday because you're going to be missing the day-to-day that you're supposed to go through. And, it's like that for a reason. God puts this stuff in the Scripture. God spoke this word for a reason.
Yeah.
Because we're not promised now. We're not promised the next 5 minutes. We're not promised tomorrow, the day after that, or the day after that. I love the way Dr. Paul always says, should the Lord tarry, I'll be here such and such.
Yeah.
Now you've been, another thing that brought it up, I brought it up actually, because I've noticed with you, if you start talking about plans for the future, you stop what you're saying and you say, well, if the Lord allows it.
Yeah, if the Lord gives me
the Lord gives me the time, which is a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
It says that Jesus is going to come again like a thief in the night and that we need to be prepared.
Well, and another thing about it is you start to set your heart on it. Like it has to happen in order for you to be happy, in order for you to be complete. But then if you miss the moment where somebody needs you right now and you're a servant of God because you have to have something Monday, you've wasted your life.
Now, okay, so let's say here's where you are, right here. Mm-hmm. And here's where in your eye you're heading. Now, is God's plan for you to go straight forward to it, or is his plan for you to go all the way around it 5 times and then into it?
Right.
If you just go straight to it, you're not going to learn what you're going to learn along the way to get where you need to be successful at this right here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just focus all of your effort on this point,
The picture of its completion.
yes, and not focus at all on how to get there,
Yeah.
or how to follow your feet, so to speak, because you ask the Lord to guide your path, and he will. And it's not as a direct route as you might think most of the time.
Yeah.
Not a lot of comments today. Wow. We got viewers galore, but not a lot of comments.
Well, even if it is the direct route, it's the steps in between that get you there.
Yeah.
And things don't just all of a sudden materialize. So you do have to plan, you do have to have a vision, and then you do have to take the steps towards it to make it happen. But you can't neglect the step right now in the getting there. You can't skip it. You
Right.
know what I mean? And it won't skip. So I imagine, for church Sunday is that I'm going to have this sound booth and all that, and I've got to work on the sound and get it set up for Sunday, and then in the other booth now is going to be the video.
Yeah.
I have no idea how we're going to get it there.
Well, it's going to have its own. I don't know. I think, to my understanding, it's going to have its own board and everything.
Yeah. So that's all interesting stuff that I have no idea how to get from here to there, but I know my part in it
gonna
and
be
what
fun.
I've got to do. So
It's gonna be so
today,
fun.
I've got to go and hook the board back up if they haven't already done it. They may have. And get that ready so that I can actually work on the sound for the musicians and for the house, and then something to send over to the video people.
Yeah. Where they can actually
They're going to have a
adjust it there.
digital board, software board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think they're going to actually have a regular full-on board over there.
Yeah.
The way I understand it, I talked to Pastor the other day. Yesterday, day before yesterday. We actually meet up on the phone, Pastor, his wife, and myself once a week, if we can't meet face to face, because he likes to stay in the loop with his staff, and which is good. And we know where we would like to be. We have an image in our minds and in our hearts about what we would like. But if you dedicate your works unto the Lord, he'll guide your path to the closest to that you can get.
Well, and you've also got to trust and obey the authorities that God gives us. Like at the church,
Trust
pastor
and
is our
obey.
authority, and he's made demands. We had 1 week where 500 and something people tuned in to church, and
then
the
tuned out.
sound was horrible. They tuned right back out, and they haven't tuned in again since. And I think he's right about that. Is that the demands that he has to get this done now are pretty important demands. What he saw was 500 and some people who are lost looking for a church full of brothers and sisters, a family where they can fellowship and get to know one another, to not be alone. Because right now it feels like for a lot of people, and for me, I'm not really very fearful. So COVID has changed my life in that I've lost people, but on the other hand, I've not gone through it in a fearful way. My biggest fear is that if I do get sick, I'm going to make somebody else sick.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about if I get sick and die. I just don't think a lot about that like that.
I am.
Yeah.
I get, but of course,
But don't do me any favors, COVID, because I look forward to the day when I meet my Lord. And
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
him as well as he knows me, because I know he knows me pretty well.
Good morning, Jennifer.
He put all the stuff in my path to change my life, and it was orchestrated in the finest way, like a real orchestra. All the notes are right in their right timing, and to plan that and put that together takes the dedication of so many
yeah.
who don't even know what the finished product's going to be like. They come and they bring their talent and their skill and their knowledge, and they join in this thing. They have a leader that they follow and they take direction from, and it comes together to be this beautiful piece of this beautiful single piece of music that is taken for granted in some way, or you can enjoy it beautifully for what it really is, for what it is, just for the sound that comes to your ear.
God is so good.
But we can, it's important to remember that all of those pieces are full of a lifetime of dedication, and it's so much more than just beautiful music.
Yeah.
And so, I want to be a part of this, and I want to get the sound right. And it's important that those people tune in and stay tuned in, because they're searching, and we want them to find it. And that's our job, is to make sure that those who are searching find. And that's what I mean about the right now. Sure, the plans are great, and you gotta have them. You gotta work towards them, but you can't have your heart set on it, and you can't dwell there. You gotta be right here, right now.
There's short-term goals and long-term goals.
Right. And I had to turn a lot of my focus towards understanding what it was that I'm doing and what he's demanding on me, instead of the problems. I can do.
If you guys are commenting, we are not seeing them. Just so you know, It's not showing up here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's.
So we're not ignoring you.
No,
we are not out of there, and I'm going to come back to it and see if I can get it back.
Yeah. So, and it's just a really good topic, because so many people today, we're worrying about what's going on tomorrow. What's going to happen? Is there going to be a revolution? There's a lot of civil unrest. There's a lot of spiritual unrest. There's a lot of depression and anxiety going on.
But that's a perception.
Yeah.
I really think it is. Because look, where you are right now, this moment, is where you can actually make a difference in a life. See, I can show somebody who's in a foul mood, who knows why. Maybe tragedy, maybe suffering, maybe their life, maybe they lived in a way that we were just talking about. They had all these plans. Like when I started out as a young man, getting a wife and having children, I imagined my 40-year-old birthday, as being surrounded, sitting with my wife and being surrounded by my children and grandchildren. That's my imagination where it was. That never happened. So that could be, I could perceive that as the failing of my entire life to never reach the place that I was supposed to be. But it's realizing that isn't what God intended for me. That it's right now where I can make a difference. Right now, I can, tell my son that I love him, because he wants to talk to me. And so I have his ear. And when I have his ear, to make the difference right now, to speak to him of the Lord and God's plans and how important that is, so that he can fashion his life after God and his will, and that right now he can make a difference in people's life. And try to explain to him how my plans were and how they didn't come true. If you took a snapshot of my life today, it is not what my plans were. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I could be all disappointed and discouraged. And can you imagine if my heart was so set on that and God had not turned me around? The disappointment there. No wife. Rarely see two of my children. Never see my grandchildren. If that's all that I had in life and that picture fell apart, my life would be ruined. What's the point of living, right? What's the point of right now, when right now isn't what it was supposed to be, what I planned? And what's the point of tomorrow when there's no way to get there?
Oh, wow.
It already fell apart here. The train is off the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to get to its destination.
Oh, wow. Adam West. I'm usually working this time of the morning. I've been off this week due to COVID and have enjoyed listening to you, man. Thank you, Adam. So I did have no comments, and now it's like, boom, there's a bunch of comments.
Did you get them all now? Good.
So we're glad to have you, Adam, to be viewing us, and and if you have anything that you'd like to add to this, folks, please be sure and comment, because this is not just a show of us just sitting here talking to people. We're here to discuss what you want to discuss. Like if you have a different topic in mind that you want us to touch base on, if you have any hard questions, hit us up. We want that. That's good content, and we're here for you more than we are for ourselves.
I guess we're just...
The food lines are getting longer and longer than ever before. That's what Larry says.
We're just conversing until somebody says something.
Steve Schultz says, what did you find out, Steve?
Well, I still found out that I still have... I'm not active, but my what do you call them? Embolisms. The blood clots are still there, but they're stationary. I'm stable, and the heart's good. And so I see a vascular specialist tomorrow, right across not straight here, but over at the Wheeler center. So I appreciate your prayers. And anybody that remembered me talking about yesterday about me being in the ER, I'm fine. I think they just wanted to double check on some things and make sure that there was no new embolisms that had either broken off or new, and so the doctor was pleased with what he saw on the X-ray, and there was no CT scan, so I'm doing well.
Good.
That's good.
So thank you, folks, for praying for me. Steve, thank you for praying. And I have a watch party on, but I've only got my friend Jennifer on, so that's the only comment I've gotten. That doesn't mean that I'm having the same problem you are. So because are you on your watch party?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
where I'm getting all these comments.
Yeah, I have no
Okay.
comments. So maybe that's because Axe Media Group had some trouble.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway,
But we love you if you're listening. We're
Yeah.
thankful that you're here. If you'd like to help us, like and share. Like and share. If you have a friend that you think would benefit from this or enjoy this, go ahead and go down to, while you're watching
Jody,
live,
welcome.
hit the share button. It brings
Jody.
up your friends list. You can find the friend that you think would benefit from this or enjoy it. Click on them, share it to them, and that's the best way that you can help us here at Axe Media Group. We want to build a network where people are seeing live material all
Yep.
day long, all night long, around the clock. That's our goal. That's my goal.
That's
my
my goal,
intention
too.
in what I'm doing. That it would be pleasing to God. That it would have material that is good for the secular world, people who aren't necessarily looking for a church or to be ministered to, but really are just looking for some good information. And we have great people providing that kind of material who then also incorporate the scripture, lessons, their own personal feelings about God and why their commitment is the way it is and why they, how the Lord is using them through it. So that's a great influence, a place where people can be introduced by the Lord to the Lord through these shows that are more secularly designed in the secular world. They have to do with real world things that everyone can benefit from, not just our brothers and sisters in Christ. We'd also like to have a lot of material available for our brothers and sisters in Christ to tune in and fellowship with the fellow believers. And so help us to do that by liking and sharing. That's the number one thing you can do. The second number one thing you can do is you can actually go onto your browser, go to axmediagroup.com. That's ACTS mediagroup.com. In there you can find our website where our videos are posted. You can find in the drop-down menu where you can actually donate $5 a month. You can put a link on there to your church, an event that you guys are putting on, or whatever you'd like to put on there, a link. And that $5 would help us tremendously. And some of the people that we would like to help, you would be helping them as well. And you can donate $5 and get a link, or you can donate 500, 5,000, 5 million, and it would be beneficial to us. It would go to a good cause and help us in our cause to expand Axe Media Group.
My brother Chris says, "Hi, Matt and Jason. My phone keeps cutting in and out. I'm sorry,
Chris.
but enjoying your show. I love you, brother."
Yeah, we love you. Haven't seen you in a while.
Larry says, "At one time in my life, I earned over $200,000 a year, and I gave it all away." That's what Larry said.
I'm not surprised.
So
you're the man.
Surprised me a bit.
definitely a man with a
I'm
servant's heart.
sure
right
that
there.
he gave it away in a proper way, and I'm sure you did, Larry.
Yeah.
So
of
yeah.
course he did, yeah.
You didn't squander it. I mean,
Well, I mean, we all learn about
He
squandering.
invested it in the Lord.
that's
in the
true.
church,
I mean,
I'm sure.
I guess depending
Maybe he
at
blew
the
it.
time that you
Put it
had
in a
the money.
storehouse.
Yeah, tell us, Larry, how did you spend it? I mean, you gave it all away, and was it for the cause of Jesus Christ and for furthering the gospel? Was it just to enjoy giving gifts, or what was it like? What was it like to spend that much money and give that much money away?
I couldn't even imagine what to do with that much money.
I can imagine what to do with it.
I remember
Yeah.
I made $19,500 for so long.
Right?
I mean, you find a way.
Yeah.
I mean,
it does disappear.
I can find a lot of ways, different ways now. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, probably not, but now I can.
Yeah. I looked at, I discovered one of my favorite scriptures was, commit your works to the Lord and he will establish your thoughts. And so what I thought that meant was those dreams that I was talking about that are 10, 20, 30 years down the road, that those were going to come to pass. But in fact, I did commit my works today to the Lord. Mm-hmm. And as it turned out, It wasn't that he was going to make my dreams come true 10 years down the road. It was that he was going to make what he wanted of my life today. And it turned out he had a great plan that I'm all in on. That today is a better day because he's my Lord.
Yeah.
You know, and that his thoughts are the ones that I want to be established in my life.
Yeah, the steps, he orders your steps, obviously, but if you would have told me like 10 years ago, oh, you're going to be in Branson, you're going to be part of a ministry, your ministry is going to be on the radio, I would have said, what? No, that's not what my plan is.
Right. And you wouldn't have imagined the health problems.
No, and so of course not. COVID on top of what I've learned from my health, the CMT, the COVID, everything going on. I wouldn't have imagined that.
No, you would have omitted that part and not been there. But it's actually through that, God has put you in a place where you can minister where you would not have otherwise.
Exactly.
Jody Meyer says, praying for you, Steve. Also, please pray for sweet, precious girl named Morgan Green. Her mom is Andrea Green, and this baby girl is very sick with cancer in the hospital and just had a major stroke.
Oh, man.
Please pray. So we're praying for Morgan Green. Morgan Green. Everybody,
Green.
Prayer Warriors Unite.
Exactly.
So
And pray this weekend is supposed to be Jimmy Jack Foundation's Christmas for Kids. I have no idea if it's been postponed. As far as I know, it's still going on, and because of what happened with CGMA, a lot of us, I think, are being extra careful, especially me. So if there is going to be some things that I don't agree with as far as social distancing, masking, I really don't want to be part of it, because then I can't come here and minister because I don't want to expose you guys.
yeah. Well,
I think, isn't that what you said? I mean, I'm saying that for me, but
Say what now? Say that
as
again.
far as coming here, if anybody that's associated with that group that has a show here, they shouldn't show up here, because then you're exposing.
Oh, yeah. Like if they're at a big event like that, and especially if they're whoever's putting on that event is not doing things the proper way, they should probably be 14 days at least, or 10 days before they come here.
Right.
So that that way, anybody who's going to catch it, they can tell, because they say it's between 2 and 14 days.
Yeah.
The average is between 2 to 4 days after
I heard
exposure.
2 to 10 or 5 to 10, something like that.
I know quarantine is 10 days now, according to my doctor.
Yeah, according to mine.
I went over that. I waited even longer than the 10 days because I didn't want to, bring it to you guys. Mm-hmm. It was already at home. It was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I waited 14 days.
It raged through our group.
So, but we love you guys. We just want you guys to be safe, and I'm supposed to be performing Saturday afternoon, and so I just want to make sure that I'm good and that there's not going to be problems with me.
Yeah.
But
now
pray for that foundation too. He's really doing a great job. There's so
what's
many
the
instruments.
foundation name again?
Jimmy Jack Foundation.
And what he does is he if I'm not mistaken, he gets broken instruments. This is what I'm thinking about, right? And fixes them up and gives them to underprivileged kids so that they have instruments to learn on and play on.
Exactly.
Which I think is brilliant.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it is.
So
music and praise is a good thing to have in your life. I'm telling you. I mean, it's a blessing that can really change your mood and your attitude. And
I'm going to have Jimmy Jack on my show here soon.
Yeah, he's been on Dr. Paul's show?
He might have been.
Sorry, I'm texting and doing
I got
all
a
this.
book on EQ.
That means equalizer.
Yes, an equalizer. So making sound work more distinctly and more accurately, because when it goes through electronics, in some ways those change, because all of these microphones have a little bit different diaphragm, and even two identical microphones that are the same, there are some subtle variables in them that you may have to make adjustments with, and you can do that digitally through EQ. And so I'm learning all about that. I've got some books coming on how to create compelling mixes that describe different styles of music and stuff like that. So my excitement about learning all of that stuff is one for the studio at home for the band, where I can put all this knowledge to practice and find out how they really work in real world situation. With the new studio at Axe Media Group, I'm looking forward to creating a space where all of these friends of Axe who are performers from Branson can come in and know that we're going to do a fine job in reproducing what they have to offer and what they're willing to give to Axe and what they're willing to come in and perform for us and let us put on our website, because that would be such a great thing to have.
Oh, yeah.
We've got such amazing performers that are friends of Axe. And if we can create a space where we can just adequately, at least, a place where they can come in, do something in a contribution to Axe, and then go home and watch it and be pleased with the product and say, this is good. I want to do this again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got a couple comments. See, every time I back out and go back in, I get more comments.
Huh.
On my watch party.
Something's definitely going on.
Yeah, I don't have anybody.
For 12 years, this is from Larry. For 12 years, I earned lots of money, and I loved helping others, people, and my 2 daughters. Jody Meyer says, pretty risky, Steve. Steve Schultz says, they need to be fever-free for 3 days. Larry Melton says, rural chapel. Does that work for people that want to learn how to play music?
Jonathan Kretzman says the notification didn't show up today.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something going on. Where are you seeing that? Because I'm not even seeing Jonathan.
That
Kretzman.
was on a watch party.
I'm not seeing anything.
The top of my.
I'm not seeing anything on my watch party. Anybody on my watch party, and
that's why liking and sharing these. The algorithms can really, it can really bring us into a place in the algorithms that will share us with more people who didn't actually look for us. So like and share these videos. It's the number one way you can help.
Right. Yep. Is Jody trying to say pretty risky for my situation?
Yeah, that's what she said. Pretty risky, Steve.
As far as me performing?
Probably.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
I'm just thinking, I want to make sure I understood you right. That's all, Jody. Love you. Love you guys. Jaden, you're awesome. God's got great plans for that young lady.
Yeah. Yeah, and we want to do them justice at Axe. That's what I want to do. That's why I want to learn more about sound, is so that when they come in to perform, I can work with the equipment that we have to get the best product and deliver it, so that when they see the product that we did,
play it forward.
When they see what we produced, that they can be pleased with it and say, we want to do that again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's. And we can do.
Which they are that way anyway.
We can do sitcoms now. We're going to be able to do sitcoms.
That too. I would love to see sitcoms. That would be so much fun.
Or stand-coms, whatever.
Yep. And music and sitcoms would be so great.
Stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Get some Christian.
Yeah, we have the brick wall.
Well, like a family storyline though too. Something they can tune in once a week or something, and see a new one addressing new problems and current events the way they are.
I actually had a teenage soap opera that I was writing a long time ago.
Yeah.
A teenage soap opera where it was involving 4 or 5 teenagers in their lives.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is one of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Jimmy Jack?
Yeah. He is?
Rural Chapel?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Huh. Or is it Ruel? It's Ruel Chapel.
Well, you're learning. We're learning. Keep tuning in, because you're going to see us get better. And one of these days, you're going to see a product up there, and you're going to say, I want that produced. I want to work with those people. And we're hoping to build something that.
By the way, when you're talking about late night, how late are you talking? Are you talking like 11, 10, 11?
Well, it was just an idea. Really, it's an emerging thing. Axe Media Group is an emerging network, and we are on the ground floor of something that is progressing. suddenly it exploded with a lot of product. All of a sudden, a bunch of people saw what we were doing and said, I want to get involved here and do something too. And they're great people who are producing great product. And we just want to continue to improve on that. And when I talked about the around the clock thing, and remember I talked about a late night comedy show, like an interview type comedy thing, that was just an idea of a way to get something that people already like the model of. People like to sit down late at night if they're up and watch something funny.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything.
That truly
that's
funny,
but
not
also
the stuff that's out there now, obviously.
that involves people that you see every day. Like, that's why they have so many big-time celebrities on those shows, because when people are sitting up and they want to laugh, they want to not take something so serious. They will look at people who are prominent in everyday life. And then when they go and talk about this, everybody's going to know who they're talking about.
Right.
And so I was thinking something along that lines, and however often it's produced is not necessarily important, but that it's produced well.
Right.
And that it's fun. And it's not necessary that it be done. It's just that it was an idea thrown out there.
Well, and it's a great
idea. There are
idea.
models out there being used that are working. And they're diving. They've insulted half the world. They've insulted half the country with their rhetoric and their, and their propaganda. So they're losing those people. If all you do when you tune in is hear insults to your own personal beliefs and your own personal choices, you're going to tune out. Mm-hmm. And we want a place for them to tune in.
Right.
That's supportive of them.
Exactly.
But we also want it to be supported to the other half that are still tuning into them. Because this world is made up of a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And, we hear Democrat, Republican all the time. And the problem I have with that is I know Christian. I'm more conservative. I would consider myself, at least at this time in my life, a Republican. But I know people who identify themselves as Democrats who are truly Christian people who have committed their works to the Lord. So when we talk about Democrat and Republican as though it's Christian and non, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah,
and I don't like that kind of talk, because that when you say, when we refer to Democrats as the lost and evil, I'm like, in my mind, it just scrambles me a little bit, because I know a Democrat who's a devout Christian person whose works are more committed to the Lord than what mine are, and who are older than me and who have a body of work that mine doesn't even measure up. Mine doesn't measure up to nearly, and I guess that maybe sounds a little bit like I'm bragging, but, I want to commit my works to the Lord. And I see these people who identify as Democrats as people I would like to be like. So it doesn't have anything to do with Democrat and Republican. And, so I would like to see a place where those people who are still tuning in to those shows, late night shows that are rather insulting to half of the population, the half that's still tuning in, I would like for them to feel welcome too.
Yeah.
That this is a place where they can tune in, and we can all be friends and family with a Christian influence that might offer some answers to some questions that are the truth, that might clear some things up in this world that we're living in today, where things aren't always so clear.
Right, exactly. That's a good way of great way of putting it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're willing to put together a show like that, just, I'm all ears. Let's see what you got.
If you want to get to heaven, you got to raise a little hell, and you should respell the word raise, because you're saying raise as in like raise it up, but raise RYZE, raise,
raise
RAIZE, raise to the ground, which I never understood that. But
Jim Whining said, "Thank you, Jason."
You're welcome, Jim.
You're welcome, Jim.
You're welcome, Jim.
Yeah.
We love you, Jim. Jim puts in a lot of work, too, for us.
Yeah, he does.
He does a fantastic job.
He's a Democrat.
That's all right, though. We don't hold that against him.
We don't hold that against him. We can't.
Nobody's
We see the body of his work. We see the evidence of his life and the work that he does. And that's what I'm saying. It just gets my craw when I hear that. I had a guy at work yesterday who was a Republican, clearly a Republican. And he talked...
Chicken train.
So I would have voted for... I voted for Trump. And I would have liked for him to be president. If they can prove there was enough fraud that he actually is the president and did win the election, then I'm all for it. But they have to prove that.
Yeah.
I'm a Republican and I want him to have won, but it has to be real. He can't just say that and then a bunch of and then start a war. there actually has to have been enough fraud that he actually would have won or actually did win, and they have to prove that for me, because if he actually lost that election, the people have spoken and the vote must count. So if Biden is our new president because he won the election in fact,
then
I want him to be our president.
Absolutely. Hi, Dana.
I don't like it.
Right. We don't like it, but that's
what election's about, like it or not. If you lose the election, you lose.
I think it's because of who it is and his character and the way how he's been represented, and I think that's why the way he's carried himself and the way he does things in public and says things in public, that's what scares a lot of people about him being president. I think it's the policies aren't there either.
Yeah, I don't like any of it.
The policies, his character, I think everything about him is not what I would say should qualify him as a president.
But if he's duly elected, we accept that.
Well,
Right.
and I do disagree with that, because I've actually listened to him talk and watched him talk to real people. And Joe Biden really cares about individual people. But I can't see him creating policy that affects the entire country with that kind of thing, because you start to get divided. If you want to serve every individual, you serve the interests of people who have opposite interests. In other words, they're conflicting interests. So then that's building in conflict. You have to kind of pick one side or the other. But when he's standing in front of somebody and listening to their real world problems, no matter what they are, he is engaged and he is involved in that problem and wants to find a solution. So that's what I do admire about Joe Biden. But that also may be what contributes to his seeming to be a little not focused on any, you know what I mean? It's like, how's he going to lead when he's off in so many directions and he can't, to me, that's the way I see it.
Right.
But I don't think he's all bad. And you don't get reelected and spend a career in politics without having actually effectively served somebody. You know, you got to get the votes.
If you want to check out Jay's past shows, it's called Just the Facts, Trump versus Biden. That's what it said on the title page.
But in my opinion, before Trump came along, we were losing our freedom of speech. It was being taken from us, not through legislation, but through the encouraging of aggressive and threatening behavior by people who may not like what you're saying. And I saw that rising in an attitude in the public and in our social environment, that people were keeping their own moral values and their own closely held beliefs silent because they were afraid of being attacked in some way, whether it be verbally or public humiliation or actual physical attack. You know, we were losing our freedom of speech to that before Trump came along. And Trump, with the boldness that he has and the lack of concern for what anybody thinks about what he says, has in a way freed us all to speak again. And I want that. I believe that the freedom to speak is vital.
Yeah.
And the freedom to defend ourselves. So those are things I don't like about what Biden. With Biden's interest in serving every individual, we'll see a rise in people not being willing to listen again. We'll see that again, where we'll lose our freedom of speech by threat of the minority. You know, there's positive things that have come from that too. There are people that we are hearing about what they think now and their ideas and ideals that are, to me, outlandish and insane, where we would have never heard about it. They would have had that in their closet. Those would have all been closely held secrets. So this thing that we've seen rise has revealed an idea that's emerging in a generation that we should be aware of. And without all of this craziness, we wouldn't be aware of it still. And eventually it would explode in a much more volatile and sudden way that we wouldn't be able to expect.
Yeah.
I see pluses and minuses in all of it. But if he won, he's our president. And
True.
And that's how I feel about it. I want my vote to count.
Right.
And in order for that to be, if I lose an election, because the votes that were the real legal votes that were counted support him, then I just have to be in support of him. That's and God even demands that we support our leadership. He puts them in place for a reason.
Larry, no, but that's okay. We knew what you meant. He said Joe won't be president, Harris will be president, and then he misspelled president, and then he asked, did I spell that right?
My president is Jesus Christ, and I am just passing through. This is
that's right.
No by birth,
we're aliens and strangers.
It is not going, and I took these words to heart, and it helps other people that have anxiety about this whole situation. No matter who is president, that is not going to change who we are as people and who we are as Christians.
It won't.
If you don't let it change you.
Yes.
You can make it change you into a grumpy person that wants to yell at anybody who believes otherwise what you believe.
Or you can cower and out of fear keep all of your beliefs and your faith to yourself and not share it. But then what happens there? That's putting your light under a bushel. We got to be able to take the heat, man.
Yeah.
But
true.
I love the Lord, and like with Uncle Bruce passing, he was a stranger in a strange land and no longer. Now he is home. Now he's gotten off the boat and stepped foot on dry land, his land.
Yeah.
Amen. Yep.
I've inherited this by birth as an American citizen, but my heart is in heaven, and that's where my place is. That's where my land is. That's where my country, my nation is. My nation is God's nation.
Amen.
And that's not America. That's Zion.
Yes.
I don't know
The
all the technical terms for that. The New Jerusalem. So let's try to keep that in mind, and that this little space that you're standing on right now today has to be where the Lord lives, so that people can say, maybe I want to get a green card. Let me get a green card so I can go there, and I'll take the citizenship test. And we'll see more people praising and worshiping
Steve
the Lord
Schultz
who is
says,
worthy.
Jesus is King of Kings. Mic drop.
Amen.
Amen. What a mic drop that was.
Okay, Larry, what do you mean that my Facebook account just came on?
Huh.
That's weird. Okay.
We have 2
Really
minutes,
weird.
1 minute.
Yep.
So we're ready to get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going to start the music.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Not so loud this time. Yesterday, cranked it up really loud. Somebody
I was having fun with you.
Yeah, we're
is that what it was?
rocking
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, I was trying to drown you out and see if you noticed.
I noticed.
And you did. I thought it was fun.
thought it was funny.
I didn't think it should be that loud
was
either. I
hilarious.
thought it would be
Oh, yeah,
necessary for it to be funny.
The mischievous smirk on your face gave it away. So, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the Morning Drive today. We'll be back on tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Be sure and tune in next for Penny for Your Thoughts with Susan Abar and Dana and Dawn. Not Dawn.
No,
Dawn?
no, Don.
No Dawn? Huh? Not
Not
today.
today.
But you and
No.
Susan. All right, so Dana and Susan Abar. And if you haven't watched this show yet, please do. It's very informative. I think
Yeah.
they're still in Nehemiah.
It's a Bible
I'm get-
study on Nehemiah.
I'm getting a nod of the head over there. So, until then, my friends, God bless you and keep you. We love you. My name is Matt,
My name is Jay.
My name is Steve.
and this has been
The
Morning Drive.